Hey everyone, Sean here, and today in this video I wanted to go over my review for Brilliant Diamond, in this case here, as I am a Diamond boy when it comes to this generation of Pokemon. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl have been my all-time favorites so far, even to this day. I really do like it for several reasons. Part of them is the Pokemon themselves. I do like a good number of the gym leaders, the presentation of things, and there's just a lot of just the nuances that I really liked about Diamond and Pearl. So, having to play this back in the day on the DS, really liked it, and even to this very day, like I said, it's still my favorite. Now, this is the most sort of rapid fire type of review in a sense that I don't have a script in front of me. I just wanted to, just spill my thoughts straight from my mind and out my mouth and onto your computer screens, TVs, whatever, and onto your mobile devices. So but before I do all of that, don't forget to like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it because it really helps out. So if you can do so, again, much appreciated. Now, first off, again, I am a big fan of Diamond and Pearl. It's my favorite generation, and when I first heard about the remake, I was very excited. Although having to see, like, firstly the whole chibi thing was a little odd to me. I thought they would just go with the typical full-scale models like they've done for Sword and Shield. But this is not coming from Game Freak. This is coming from a different company. So this is something I guess this developing company wanted to go with, or maybe it's just something they've were only capable of or something at the time. Either way, I wanted to see something else from Diamond and Pearl remake. This is being marketed as a remake, and so I wanted to see something a little different when it comes to the art direction and graphics. This is being marketed as a remake, and a lot of these remakes nowadays are getting some degree of the treatment when it comes to the visual side of things, at least. Having to see the Final Fantasy 7 remake, and of course the Yakuza games with the Kiwami edition. They've had a level of that sort of makeover when it comes to the visual side of things, and I wanted to see something to that degree, at least in this iteration. But I guess this is a remake in the most minimum sense, in the sense that, of course, this is all transferring from the handheld and onto the Switch, the home console slash handheld, right? The hybrid console. So it's got of course, it's got some of the graphics that you would expect to see on a console, but it still isn't. It still didn't like wow me enough, unfortunately. Overall, I'm gonna be really honest here, and I kind of didn't like the chibis, being like the prime part of what you're seeing on your screens. Now, I do understand that this is all supposed to be like referencing, the stuff from the DS, right? And it's supposed to play with the sort of the nostalgia side of things with the players and all that. And for, I guess, anyone else, it's, whoever else is coming in for this game, I guess it's like something a little more friendly, I guess. And, it's cute and it's got some of the charm to it, I understand. But overall, I just wanted to see something a little different in having this to be marketed as a remake. I expected something else. It's just something I can't really shake off. I'm someone who really, likes the visual side of video games. And to me, video games have to look cool. You know what I mean? Like, the things that you're doing on your screen when it comes to video games have to look cool, as well as feeling good when it comes to the gameplay side of things too. It's a video game, so of course, the gameplay's got to be important. But as much as people do say that, I really feel like the graphics side of things are also important too. Things gotta look cool on your screen. I mean, why do you think games like the fighting games are really paying attention to the visual side of things as well? In the art direction. You know what I mean? The things that you do on your on your screen really have to do look cool, because otherwise, you know, if you strip away all the art direction and the cool things that you do see and stuff like that, and boil it down to just the gameplay side of things and look really basic, you're not gonna really stick around for that or have a much of a good impression. It's probably gonna be more towards the mundane side of things, or the very mid sort of impressions on the game, if again the art direction isn't wowing you all that much. And it's leaning, in this case here for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, it's a little more leaning towards that middle, unfortunately. I mean, at least for me anyway. Again, with the chibis and all that stuff, and the sort of overall execution, it could. I wish for something different, especially when it comes to some of the important parts of the story. And I know this is a Pokemon story, so not a whole lot of people care too much, but I just do wish that at least the cutscenes and such would feature the full-scale modeling. It would have been really cool to see all that, and that would have added to the more of that modern experience. But no, most of these scenes with the talking and such, you know, it all mostly features those small little models, the chibis. And it just really makes me wish to see more of my favorite characters with the full-scale modeling. And you only get to see them, of course, when you're battling them, rather than also with story as well, when they're talking to you and all that. And, you know, this is what I have to see on my screen, unfortunately. But yeah, you know, that's just kind of like my complaint about that. It just makes me wish that they could have done something a little different here. But, you know, it's a pretty safe call, I guess, to do it like this. And at least the colors and stuff like that are there. But, you know, they did overuse the bokeh effect. There's a lot of the bokeh effect going on in this game, and it's basically like that blurry background and foreground, some of the foreground as well. They use a lot of that because they wanted to sort of hide sort of the shortcomings of their art direction or their execution of things, especially when it comes to seeing things from far away. There's a lot of jaggies going on, like the edges are really rough, that just they couldn't smooth things out really. So a lot of things do have that blurry effect, and you kind of really do see how artificial it looks too because of the outlining on the characters. It just, you know, I mean, to be fair, the same thing sort of happened in some of the Yakuza games. They wanted to incorporate some of that effect too in their cutscenes, and you kind of do see it. It's pretty obvious when you see like the outlining. It's artificially added on there instead of having to naturally have the camera do so, but it's not a real camera, so obviously you can't really do that, at least not yet anyway. There are some moments where the game did look really good. There are some parts of the Sinnoh region looking pretty good, like the flower field, you know, with the petals like kind of flying in the background, the bloom effect and such. It kind of those parts do line up nicely, and then that's where the bokeh effect is okay. Some of the bokeh effects are okay, where it does have add height to some of the parts of like the cave and the tunnels and mining shafts and whatever. It does add depth there, but overall though, a lot of the effects are kind of overused and just really blown up in your face in a way to try to hide all the bad artifacting in the game. And even if I did like the art direction with the chibis and all that stuff, the execution isn't all there. It's pretty subpar in my opinion, especially if you do look closely as you play the game. Oh god. Oh my god. This fucking chibi of Mars. Looks so goofy, dude. There you go. Even that one looks kind of goofy, honestly. Oh gosh, why does it like look like she looks like she looks like the like she would appear in a Japanese Kleenex commercial, man. Like the nose, like it reminds me of those characters. Like a Japanese version of Kleenex commercial. Or no, was it Puffs? Is that like Puffs or Kleenex? Oh, it's the fat cat. I forgot about that. God, it looks like, yeah, the nose is like, I don't know what's up with it, man. And there is one major bug that's been really, well, I hate to say it, bugging me throughout my playthrough, and that's the Pokemon's eyes. Like some certain Pokemon's eyes have the placeholder there, and it's instead of their pupils or natural pupils or whatever, you see these X's on their eyes when they're viewed from far away. I'm sure it's a major bug that they haven't addressed yet, but I don't know. Otherwise, I don't know what's really going on. But it was really bugging me and bothering me throughout my playthrough. That's something I have to see every single time with these certain Pokemon, and it just looks very off-putting, and it just rubs me the wrong way. At times, can look pretty creepy too. You know, if I do stare at it for long enough, you know, these X's are just, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of the whole like feigning sort of gag that it had in Pokemon, where, you know, when the Pokemon faint or get knocked out, they have the little swirlies in their eyes, you know, when that happens. In this case here, kind of, I don't know, they just look dead to me, literally, because they have the X's in their eyes. It's like a anime indication that they're dead, you know, they're not alive, and it kind of is appropriate in this game at times. The art direction doesn't really bring out the life entirely of a Diamond and Pearl remake, and you would think that this is something that the devs would address at this point, because I actually didn't play this on day one. I actually started playing this several weeks later after the game released. I think it was like in the middle of November. I've actually started playing sometime early December. So and by this time I'm done with this. So with the main game part of things, and I'm actually in the post game side of things to some extent. But you know, I'm done with the main game, point being, and that's what I've been seeing throughout my playthroughs. These X's in their eyes, and these bad jaggies, and just rough edging, and just a lot of these visual mishaps have been poking at me in a wrong way throughout my playthrough. So overall, the visual side of things is the weakest aspect of Diamond and Pearl remake, or sorry, Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond. This remake just really feels like a minimum. You know, it feels just like that technical minimum. Yes, is a remake in the sense that they are just building it from the ground up to replicate the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl game from the DS, even with the GBs and everything, right? They went that far, I guess, and they wanted to show out that, because I guess not only it's easy to do, or easier to do, I guess, even though they already did the full-scale modeling in the battles, but you know, just the way things animate and stuff like that, it's just very minimum at best, I think. And you know, for something being marketed as a remake, makes me do wish that they've done something else with it. I would have settled for cell shading like Breath of the Wild, or something kind of different like Link's Awakening, with the whole plasticky look and things look like toys and stuff like that. The environments have that sort of look to them. I would have settled for that. I would have kind of been happy with that. Something visually interesting would have been really nice for a game like this, for a game that really has minimum gameplay and easy gameplay to sort of sit back and watch or whatever and chill. But you know, so you're naturally going to be looking at the game a lot of times too. So I just kind of wish the visual side of things was just like remade with more love to it, or more ambition. Now otherwise, I know I've talked about a lot of the visual side of things. It's just, I can't help it, because I think those things are just as important, or pretty important to some extent, as gameplay. Now the gameplay is something you don't need to worry about. Of course, it's Pokemon, you can't really screw that up too much. It's a turn-based RPG. All the sort of things that you like about the gameplay side of things for Pokemon are there for the most part. There are a lot of these conveniences that have been added to the game, like having the PC on the go pretty much once you meet somebody, and you can switch out your Pokemon from your watch instead of having to go to the Pokemon Center and switch out your Pokemon from there. It's really convenient. It's really beautiful of how it all works, and it seems just flawless. There are also like location indicators on your map that allow you to track your berries and your honey trees and everything else. It's really nice. Although I kind of discovered that later on in the game rather than early on, but still, it's there and it's very convenient. So things like that are really cool. Now, at least the Pokemon themselves look good. I kind of forgot to mention that, but it's just kind of how it is for the most part. Besides the bugs in their eyes, the X's and stuff like that for certain Pokemon. It only happens with certain Pokemon, not so much the rest of the Pokemon. Although there are some artifacting in their own sort of way that kind of does bother me as well with some of the Pokemon. But anyway, the gameplay side of things otherwise do feel faithful with the Diamond and Pearl handhelds. They're the founders and everything. The foundation is definitely there. I definitely did like the gameplay side of things overall. Although maybe like a little bit of a nitpick here, but the biking side of things did feel a little cluttered. I think so there are times where I actually was running preferably over biking because of just the way it just feels on the screen. I was biking mostly my way through in Diamond and Pearl and on the handheld, maybe because the screen is smaller. Something about 2D or the pixel sprites are 2D versus 3D. I don't know, but I don't know. Moving around in the game, like running around on your feet, is just good enough for me anyway. So that's why I kind of was running more than I was biking in this one. But that's just a nitpick. It's not really going to count towards the score or anything like that, but I just thought it was worth pointing out. There are parts of Brilliant Diamond that were also pretty faithful as well. Of course, the story is still pretty intact. The dialogue could have been updated, but I guess it's all there. You get to see your favorite like figures and characters again and all that stuff, and it's just really cool to see them back again on the mono console, despite the whole cheapy thing. It's good to see characters like Cynthia, and of course Cyrus, the villain, and then of course the big side villains as well, like Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn, and of course the gym leaders, right? It's really nice to see my favorite gym leader, Giratina from Eterna. That was like one of my early sort of quote-unquote waifus, I guess you can say. So we get to see characters like her come back as well. Again, would have been nice to see them in that full-scale modeling. But anyway, it does really hit the nostalgia notes in that sense. And also there are some new things about it too. But not gonna go over everything. But you have to you definitely want to see them for yourself, I guess. There are some things that have been changed around, I think. I could be wrong, but there are some things that are kind of switched around a bit. So, I thought I was able to get Eevee early on in the game so that I can get my favorite evolution, Leafeon, in the game in my main game playthrough. But unfortunately, I guess not, because you have to get the national dex, then you get Eevee in Brilliant Diamond, which is a little weird, but a bit of a nitpick here. But maybe just because getting Glaceon is going to be making things a lot easier, because of course Garchomp, which is Cynthia's best Pokemon, gets ×4 weakness with ice. So and Glaceon is pretty good as an ice Pokemon. So I guess that's why that would be an easy pick, and it would have been easy pickings literally for the Pokemon League Championships, I guess. So that would have been a breeze. So maybe that's why they put Eevee in the post-game side of things rather than the main game side of things. Unfortunately, that meant that I didn't get to finish the game in the main game side of things with Leafeon. Again, my favorite evolution. I also thought that you were able to get Giratina early on too. I wanted to use Giratina in my main game side of things too, but I guess again it would have been the game would have been a lot easier, I guess, with Giratina and Glaceon and such. So that's why I guess they put them in the side, the post game side of things too. Now, granted, yeah, you can use these Pokemon once you do get there to beat the Elite Four again, and with their sort of post-game state, because they're stronger. So I guess that's why they put them there. But otherwise, it would have been nice to have them early on, just because of, well, tradition reasons or just self sort of lore reasons. Because I do like Leafeon, I really do like Giratina, so that side of me would have been aching to have that on my side early on. But again, would have been a lot easier, I guess, to beat the Elite Four and all that stuff. On top of the fact that the Pokemon now do all level up at the same time, so it does make things a little easier. And I understand that there are a lot of people who don't like that, or at least some of the hardcore Pokemon fans don't like that for some reason. I'm on the side that it's very convenient, so I'm all for it. I don't like having to level up my Pokemon one at a time. Like with what I was doing, it was taking a lot longer to level up all my Pokemon than to go through, having to go through the old school method. So that's why the experience all thing, to me, it's just fine. It just feels like a modern JRPG anyway. I mean, why not have that? Maybe as an option would have been nice, I guess, to please everyone. But I'm okay with it. I'm and this is coming from a Pokemon fan, so and I think it's okay. I mean, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. Now, otherwise, everything else is intact. All the little bits and, like, I guess, Easter eggs or everything, all the nuances and everything are there for the most part. There are moments of nostalgia that I've had, even with all the negative stuff I've said. It does hit the nice notes of nostalgia. I mean, the locations and stuff like that. There are certain sort of points of locations that I do feel that I really remember vividly, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've been there before, that sort of thing. And that's a very nice feeling, having to play this game when I was way younger, and having to come back to it on the Nintendo Switch is kind of a nice feeling. You're playing it on a modern console, and in that sense, yeah, I mean, those graphics did kind of come in and did make the game look nice in that sense. And that's where some of the small moments were had when it comes to the visual side of things, the gameplay and everything else, and kind of lining up and hitting those nostalgia notes right. Now, granted, I haven't played all the post-game content, but I don't think that's going to really change anything. It's going to be the same thing from Diamond and Pearl. I don't really think it's going to really change my overall opinion here for Brilliant Diamond and Pearl. I mean, it's all, the visual side is going to be still the same. It's not going to really change anything there. So what's kind of the point, really? Now, maybe on the gameplay side of things, I guess, sure, but I've already gotten most of the content done, so I can definitely kind of come up with a verdict here, I guess, without having things change too much. So at this point, overall, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is nice. It was a nice experience, but it could have been so much more when it comes to especially the visual side of things. I kind of wish there were things different. Otherwise, everything is faithful, intact, and I'm kind of glad that they paid attention to it to some degree. And it's nice because this is my favorite generation, and it does make me a little excited for what is in store for anything brand new for the Pokemon video games and all that. But overall, I'm just glad that it's getting this sort of love, at least, and attention again, and it's selling quite a bit of copies. And so yeah, it's kind of good to see that my favorite generation is getting that sort of those eyes and attention and engagement right. So it's nice to see it there. Overall, so there is some silver lining to it, of course, but it could have been so much better. They could have gone with more cool sort of visual side of things and art direction. I know I keep saying visual, more and more times over. I'm like nailing it to your head, but that's really how I really feel about this game. It could have looked so much cooler, but the chibis and everything is kind of just hits the nostalgia notes. I get it. And it's going to have some charm to it. It won't age badly, maybe. I don't know. We'll see about that. If the Pokemon sort of art direction, really takes the time to, well, evolve on top of the gameplay as well. So, with all that, the gameplay and everything else, it's intact, it's faithful, and it's a nice experience to come back to, no less. It's Diamond and Pearl, and I really liked it for the most part. Still, I mean, with all the little bits and pieces and stuff like that, including the mining, right? They got the secret base, I think, and everything else. All those little additions was really helpful to help smooth out the experience for Pokemon. Now, with all that said, I'm going to give it a score of just a solid 7 out of 10. Most of the important bits as a video game were all there. You know, it's a Pokemon video game. That was fun to play, admittedly. Kind of fun to come back to as a Pokemon fan. It's good to see the Pokemon again, you know, from the old days and the gym leaders and all that stuff. Again, the art direction and graphics and some of the cleanups that they've have yet to address are still there, so I have to kind of subtract the points from there mostly. It's just the visual side of things that's really holding us back from being a really high-scoring game, which I really do wish it was. You know, you know, having this to be the Diamond and Pearl remake. So, but you know, it is what it is, and it does the job, and I still liked it for what it was. So again, it's a 7 out of 10 from me. I do recommend it for those who have a Switch and who are just aching for a Pokemon game. I think this is a good way to sort of experience Diamond and Pearl still, for those who kind of missed out on it from back in the day, because it does have all the stuff from the handheld game and kind of transferred onto the Switch game with those 3D graphics. So I think that's a nice sort of incentive there. That's all I got for this review. If you have any comments about Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remake or Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, you know what I mean. Leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Really appreciate it, guys. Really helpful. And this has been my review for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Sean out.